for another video. I hope you're doing well. Guys, I just recently tested positive for the virus. You know, the one, the C, the one, the 9. I hope you caught that. Anyway, because of that, I haven't been able to go to work, but I can definitely sit in my chair and make videos. And so today we will be talking about Kamala Harris, and I want to share with you my thoughts on why it is that she is completely unqualified to be the president of this country. And if she is to have her way, if she's elected president and can actually put into motion the economic policies that she envisions for this country, she will continue to run this country into the ground financially, just as she has been doing along with Joe Biden in the Biden-Harris administration. Yep. Inflation is through the roof, things are more expensive than ever. And she has finally revealed some of her economic policies that show clearly that she has no idea what she's doing. She wants to enact economic policies that have been proven to fail every single time. Essentially, she's a communist and wants to implement communist-style price controls. And anytime anyone has ever done that at the government level, it has always failed and always makes the economy worse. Yeah. And so I want to equip you with this knowledge because even though I personally am not a particularly political person, in that I don't want to tell you who to vote for, I am invested in exploring this because as a Black person living in this country, something that I have seen is that there is this call to all Black people to vote for Kamala Harris because she's supposedly Black, and also because she's a woman. Now, anyone who wants to vote for Kamala Harris because of the color of her skin or because of her gender is an absolute moron, and you should most certainly not listen to them about anything regarding politics. Nonetheless, I want to equip you with the information that will allow you to defend yourself. You probably don't want to vote for Kamala Harris if you're a Black person, just off of the basis of common sense. There's things that you can observe about her and about the Biden-Harris administration that just clearly shows you that whatever they got going on over there isn't working and that these are not competent people. However, I want to give you more than that. I want to give you an actual scientific, sociological, mathematical approach to justifying why it is that you don't support Kamala Harris and why it is that you believe she is bad for this country. And we're going to do that by looking at her economic policies. I'm not an economist, however, it doesn't take a great degree of knowledge on how economics work, on how free markets work, on how supply and demand works, to clearly see that whatever it is that she has cooking up in the kitchen in the way of economic policies is doomed to fail, is terrible, and this makes her a poor choice for the President of the United States. Now, this video comes to us courtesy of the YouTube channel Don't Walk, Run Productions. And the video is Never Go Full Kamala Unism. Now, this is a play on the word Kamala and communism, because Kamala Harris is a communist, and communism is bad. Anyway, let us begin.
This is Kamala Harris, the shadow president of the United States. Since becoming Joe Biden's replacement on the Democrat ticket, VP Kamala has yet to do a sit-down interview with a news outlet or even give a press conference. Instead, she's hit the road, giving the same exact speech over and over again.
While our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. Because look, while our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. While our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. While our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. You know it and I know it. 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 You know it and I know it.
Yes, we do know that prices are high, and we also know why they're high. It's because of inflation caused by the massive spending of the Biden-Harris administration.
What up, Chris?
A perfect example of this is the Inflation Reduction Act. Joe Biden.
Let me tell you something. RFK is about to join forces tomorrow. I know y'all know about it. Thanks, Chris. I'm with it.
Because of inflation caused by the massive spending of the Biden-Harris administration. A perfect example of this is the Inflation Reduction Act. Joe Biden recently celebrated its 2-year anniversary in a post on X. The bill allocated $783 billion to climate change funding and had nothing to do with reducing inflation.
Right,
It
you're right,
should be
Bernard
noted
Priest.
that
You're
not
right.
a single Republican voted for the so-called Inflation Reduction Act because
You're right, Bernard Priest. You're right. You're right. It's all paper. Some kind of paper. Paper.
they knew it wouldn't lower inflation. So with the Senate split 50-50, Vice President Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the bill, as amended, is passed.
On a side note, the woman Joe Biden is sitting next to in this picture is named China Tai, who's originally from the Bay Area in California. But Joe Biden heard her name and got confused.
My name is China Tai. I'm a 2019 UC Riverside graduate.
And public-private partnership is harnessing the nature of our ability to do what this young woman from China did.
Do what this young woman from China did. This is who was running our country right here, supposedly. This man hears this woman's name, China. It's like, you're from China? Guys, it's so obvious. It's so obvious that this administration is completely incompetent.
I get it, baby. I get it. We get it. But it ain't gonna be like this. Ain't gonna be like this. Yeah, I take care of myself. I ain't really worried about whatever the fuck they saying. But I don't want no. It's been terrible. It's been terrible.
And Joe Biden, who has stepped down essentially, has effectively given Kamala Harris, or put her in the driver's seat, given her the power and authority to be making the decisions. So there is no need for us to wait until she is president to change things.
Correct.
Every and anything that she is saying or preaching that she's going to improve once she becomes president.
Yes, Tim.
She could do already. She
RFK
could do it
coming
right
through
now. So her trying to sell you on any plan for improving this country, there is nothing
full of
stopping
shit.
her from doing it today. It's all a scam.
She full of
81
shit.
million votes, guys.
Building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. When our middle class is strong, America is strong. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for.
And Kamala's campaign is defined by overpromises, platitudes, and lies about Donald Trump. I mean, can you blame her? It's all she has at this point.
Right.
She certainly can't run on her vice presidential record.
No.
So nearly a month after becoming the presumptive Democrat presidential nominee,
Notice that she does not try to use how she performed as vice president
Not at all.
as a justification for why she should be elected as president in the upcoming election.
No.
She was such a poor vice president. She has nothing to brag about. She has nothing to hold
can't
up and
run on
say,
it.
look at what I accomplished as vice president. Obviously, I would do excellent as the president. She can't. All she can do is give vague promises and attack Donald Trump.
Kamala Harris gave remarks on her economic policy, and it did not go well at all.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50%.
Chris Brown, with the namesake of the legendary Chris Brown, she does not sound like all presidents. She might sound like all presidents before DJT, but DJT don't sound like that. DJT did some shit, and they don't like it. The globalists don't like it. The NGOs don't like it. None of them. Let's go Trump 2024.
Gee, Kamala, thank you for reminding us how much cheaper things were under the Trump administration.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
That's my
When I am
baby.
elected president, I will make it a top priority to bring down costs and increase economic security for all Americans.
Is that not what Joe Biden wants as well? Does Joe Biden not want those same things? You're already the vice president. Joe Biden is probably somewhere on a rocking chair with
You're
a
right about
blanket over his
imperialism.
lap, drinking soup. What's stopping you from doing it now? And secondly, is this truly how unintelligent the average Democratic voter is? She's here saying,
Yes.
man, everything's way more expensive now than it was before. And
They're
all of
trying
this
to tell you
happened
that it wasn't.
while I was in power. How is it that they
She
can't
was
put
in
two and two
it.
together and realize, well, if everything got worse while you were in power, what reason do we have to believe
Right,
that
it's
if we
just-
give you more time
They
and
going on
give you more
symbolism,
power,
baby.
that you're going to make things better?
As
wanna
president,
see
I
it.
will take on the high costs that matter most to most Americans, like the cost of food.
So Kamala Harris, part of the Biden-Harris administration, which is the current administration, is going to make you wait for her to be elected before she does her job. And instead of owning up to the fact that the Harris-Biden administration was the cause of the inflation, VP Kamala blames greedy corporations.
Many of the big food companies are seeing their highest profits in 2 decades. And while many grocery chains pass along these savings, others still aren't.
First off, which grocery chains are ripping off customers? Well, she wouldn't say, because she couldn't say.
No one's ever proven price gouging. No one even knows what price gouging actually is. What Kamala Harris Democrats don't understand is that rising prices don't cause inflation. Inflation causes rising prices. And inflation is too much money chasing too few goods, all of which devalues the money in your wallets and pocketbooks.
And Larry Kudlow is right. There is no price gouging. Democrats want to find a source of high prices. They only need to look in the mirror. But instead, they'll blame everyone else.
And I will work to pass the first ever federal ban on price gauging on food.
Price gauging. This woman has decided to make this supposed price gouging a central part of her economic policy, right? Attacking grocery stores that are supposedly price gouging, and she doesn't even know
You're right,
the
Chris.
word. Price gauging? Absolute clown work.
Nobody could ever say why they would vote for her dirty South.
Price gauging. She's so bad at this that she didn't even realize that she said it wrong. I guess whatever Joe Biden has is contagious. Sad, really.
Now, this whole baloney about price gouging and excess profit
couldn't even say it
and
right.
corporate greed is the longtime hallmark of the distant far left, and it pops up every now and then and is laughed out of the room. We don't hear about it for a long time. Prediction: it's going to happen again this time around. Laughed out of the room.
But it's already being laughed at. The Washington Post's editorial board published this piece titled, "The Times Demands Serious Economic Ideas. Harris Supplies Gimmicks. Price gouging is not causing inflation, so why is the vice president promising to stamp it out?"
Okay, so for those of you who don't understand, price gouging is this idea that someone who is supplying a good or a service will hike the prices of that good or service up to an unethical level so that they can make as much profits as possible, which then hurts the consumer. Well, anyone with a basic understanding of economics will understand why this is just simply not true. Why is that? Because if you have two companies, let's say, that sell eggs. One company sells eggs for $4, and so does the other company as well. But company B decides, hey, we want to make more money. And so instead of selling our eggs for $4, we're going to sell our eggs for $7 or $8. Well, what are people going to do? They're just going to start buying more eggs from company A, which is still selling their eggs for $4. And so the company B, which tried to increase its prices or price gouge, trying to make more profits, are actually going to make even less money than when they were selling their eggs for